What if I told you that the fiery, bold, and sometimes impulsive nature of Aries could be both your greatest strength and your biggest challenge? Ever wondered whether your Aries friend is a superhero or a whirlwind of chaos? Or maybe you're an Aries yourself, struggling to balance that intense energy? Well, in today's video, we're going to uncover the truth behind the angelic and the menacing sides of this powerful zodiac sign. Stick with me, because by the end, you'll not only understand Aries better, but you'll also discover how to use their unique traits to enhance your own life and relationships. Welcome to Zen Mind Peaceful Life, your go-to space for self-discovery, astrology insights, and personal growth. If you're looking to better understand yourself and those around you, you're in the right place. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy these deep dives into the zodiac. Trust me, you won't want to miss the wisdom and clarity we share to help you live a more peaceful and mindful life. So, what can you expect today? We're going to explore the dual nature of Aries, the side that lights up a room with charisma, leadership, and energy, and the side that can leave chaos in its wake with impulsive decisions and a short temper. By the end of this video, you'll have practical tools to understand and even harness these traits in yourself, your friends, and your relationships. You don't want to miss it, so stay with me until the very end. Before we dive in, if you're new to the channel or if you've been here before but haven't subscribed yet, take a second to click that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you won't miss out on any future content that'll bring more peace and understanding to your life. Aries, the angelic leader. Let's talk about the undeniable leadership qualities of Aries. It's almost impossible to ignore the fire they bring into every room they step into. Aries isn't the type to sit back and wait for things to happen. They're always the first to take charge, to act, and to ignite the energy of any situation. You've probably noticed it in your own life, whether it's in a friend, a coworker, or even in yourself. They have this magnetic energy that draws people in, and it's impossible to overlook their ability to make decisions quickly and confidently. Think about someone like Emma Watson. An Aries through and through, she has shown leadership not only through her acting career but also as an activist. Her boldness in standing up for women's rights is a perfect example of the positive energy Aries can bring into the world. And let's be real, it's not just about the loud, charismatic moments that catch people's attention. It's about a constant drive to push forward, to inspire, and to initiate. Aries makes things happen, and they lead with enthusiasm and raw passion. But here's the thing that's often overlooked: being an Aries leader doesn't mean running over others. It means guiding them to new heights, with confidence and a sense of adventure. If you have Aries traits, take a moment to embrace your natural leadership. This energy isn't just something you were born with. It's a power you can wield every day. A little self-reflection can help you use that energy constructively, whether at work, in your social circle, or in your personal growth. Channel that natural courage into making decisions that benefit not just you but everyone around you. And if you're looking to nurture these leadership qualities further, it's important to remember that leadership isn't just about telling others what to do, it's about bringing them along with you. Aries are known for their determination, but without nurturing those around them, their fiery nature can sometimes come across as a little too intense. So remember, true leadership is about balance, not force. Find ways to inspire others without overwhelming them. Your energy can lead the way, but it's that delicate mix of encouragement and action that makes you truly magnetic. Now, this power to lead is exciting, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Aries may be a natural-born leader, but with this power comes responsibility, and it's easy for that responsibility to slip into a little bit of a darker territory. Which brings us to the other side of Aries energy. Stick with me because we're about to explore the flip side. The competitive edge, Aries' drive for success. Aries thrives in competition. It's almost like a fire burns within them, and that fire pushes them to be the best at whatever they do. There's an intense craving for success that runs through their veins. Whether it's a career, a sport, or a hobby, Aries needs to be at the top. It's not about showing off, it's about constantly challenging themselves and others to reach higher levels. When they walk into a room, they want to know they're giving their all, and they expect the same from everyone else. But here's where things can get tricky. Aries can sometimes get a little too competitive. Their desire to win can occasionally make them come off as overbearing or even a little bit too focused on success, sometimes at the expense of relationships. I remember working with an Aries once, and it was clear from day one that he was driven. Every project had to be done his way, and every suggestion felt like a challenge to his authority. At first, it was inspiring, seeing how dedicated he was to getting things done and achieving the best possible result. But eventually, it started to feel like a competition for who could do things better rather than working together to get things done efficiently. And that's where the balance comes into play. If you're an Aries, that burning drive is part of who you are, and it's something to embrace. But there's also a lesson in knowing when to dial it back. It's not about killing your ambition, it's about learning to enjoy the journey without always needing to win. Take a moment to pause and ask yourself, am I competing for the right reasons? Am I pushing others forward? Or am I just trying to beat them? There's power in collaborating with others, in lifting each other up, and finding success not just in the outcome but in the experience of growing together. In any situation, Aries can use their competitive nature to create an environment where everyone rises to the occasion, but it requires awareness. Embrace your inner warrior, but be mindful of how it affects your relationships. And, as we dive deeper into Aries' personality, we'll see how the very traits that push them to success can also lead to frustrations, especially when things don't go their way. Impulsivity, the Aries speed of action. Here's a trait of Aries that's often celebrated but also can be their downfall: impulsivity. Aries are fast-moving, action-oriented individuals. When they get an idea, they jump on it immediately. No overthinking, no delays, just action. This can be exhilarating and empowering. They charge forward like a ram with a clear goal, their instincts guiding them through uncharted territories. But, at the same time, this eagerness can lead them into situations they haven't fully thought through. That's where Aries sometimes get into trouble. It's like a story I heard about an Aries entrepreneur who started a business on a whim. He had the passion and the drive, but the details? Not so much. The business took off at first, fueled by his enthusiasm and willingness to take risks, but the lack of planning soon led to obstacles. The impulsive decision-making caught up with him, and what started as a dream quickly became a struggle. The truth is, Aries' impulsivity is a double-edged sword. It's fantastic in moments when quick decisions are needed, but it can also lead to chaos if those decisions aren't carefully thought out. If you're an Aries, or if you have strong Aries energy in your chart, try to take a step back every once in a while. You don't have to stop making bold moves, but consider waiting a few minutes before jumping headfirst into something new. Take a deep breath, think through the possible outcomes, and assess whether you're acting out of genuine inspiration or just reacting to a moment of excitement. This pause doesn't slow you down. It enhances your effectiveness. And this brings me to something important that ties everything together: knowing when to slow down is a skill. It's not about killing your spontaneous spark, but it's about learning to balance that quick action with a little foresight. Your ability to move quickly is a gift, but with a little time to reflect, your decisions will be even more powerful and purposeful. Now, speaking of powerful forces, let's take a look at another defining feature of Aries: their fiery temper. The fiery rage of Aries, the short temper. If you've ever witnessed an Aries in a moment of anger, you know how quickly they can switch from calm to furious. It's like watching a volcano erupt. They have a short fuse and can go from 0 to 100 in seconds if they feel disrespected or challenged. Aries doesn't waste time on passive-aggressive behavior. When they're upset, they express it, loud and clear. This can be both intimidating and, at times, even a little bit jarring for those around them. I've seen it firsthand with an Aries friend of mine. We were at a gathering, and someone made a comment that rubbed her the wrong way. Within seconds, her face turned red, and she was standing up, passionately defending herself. It was hard to ignore the intensity of the situation, but what was even harder was how quickly she cooled off afterward. Once the moment passed, it was like nothing had happened, and she was back to her usual upbeat self. That's the thing about Aries temper, it's powerful, but it's often short-lived. They don't carry grudges. They deal with their emotions in real time, and once it's over, it's over. However, this quick-fire temper can create tension, especially in relationships or professional settings. If you're an Aries or you know one, it's important to understand that this reaction doesn't always serve you well in every situation. It's helpful to learn how to take a deep breath before reacting. A few seconds of pause can make a world of difference. If you're finding yourself in a heated situation, try to step back and assess whether the intensity of your reaction matches the situation. It's not about suppressing your anger, it's about channeling it in a way that's constructive, not destructive. This is where emotional intelligence becomes key. Aries can learn to acknowledge their emotions without letting them take control. By practicing mindfulness and self-awareness, you can avoid unnecessary conflict and find ways to express your feelings in a way that doesn't alienate others. And now that we've explored Aries leadership, competitiveness, impulsivity, and fiery temper, there's one more layer to unravel. It's time to take a look at what makes Aries truly unique, their intense need for independence, and how this plays into their relationships and personal growth. Stick around, because understanding this trait might just change how you view Aries forever. The Menace side, Aries struggle with boundaries. There's something incredibly powerful about Aries' need for freedom. It's like they're driven by an invisible force that pushes them to act on instinct, to follow their desires without hesitation. This intense need for independence can be both a gift and a challenge, especially when it comes to relationships and interactions with others. The desire to go full speed ahead without looking back sometimes makes Aries forget that not everyone can keep up with their pace. One thing I've noticed is that Aries tends to overlook boundaries, whether in friendships, romantic relationships, or work environments. They're so eager to dive into something new, to initiate and conquer, that they might step on others without realizing it. It can be as simple as taking charge of a group project without asking for input from others, or not respecting a partner's need for space. I had a colleague once, an Aries, who was always at the front, pushing us to work faster, pushing themselves harder, and often missing the fact that some of us needed a bit of a breather. We were all excited to collaborate, but it became overwhelming at times. The desire for speed sometimes clashed with the reality that not everyone could keep up with their intensity. The key takeaway here is recognizing that Aries' energy doesn't always align with others. Their drive is inspiring, but it's important to understand when that drive needs to be tempered. If you're an Aries, learning to respect others' boundaries is crucial, not only to avoid alienating people around you but also to build stronger connections. If you're dealing with an Aries, remember that their need for independence isn't personal. It's a part of who they are. The trick is in finding a balance where their fire doesn't burn out everyone else around them. Aries in relationships, sweet, intense, and sometimes a bit too much. Love, for Aries, is an all-or-nothing affair. Their fiery nature means they approach relationships with the same intensity they bring to everything else, with passion, urgency, and a desire for connection. When Aries loves, they love deeply. But just as their fiery passion can ignite a strong connection, it can also lead to explosive moments when things go wrong. A calm evening can turn into a heated argument in the blink of an eye, especially when Aries feels their independence is threatened or when they perceive any kind of disrespect. I've seen this dynamic unfold countless times with Aries friends and partners. One of my closest friends, an Aries, has this incredible ability to make you feel like the most important person in the room when she's with you. She's engaging, spontaneous, and incredibly generous with her affection. But if things aren't going her way, she won't hesitate to make her frustrations known, and quickly. I remember one time. We were discussing something minor, and suddenly, she snapped. The intensity of her reaction shocked me, but once the storm passed, she was apologizing, saying she felt misunderstood. That's the Aries way, they're all about extremes, both in love and conflict. If you're an Aries, learning how to express yourself in a more measured way is key. Instead of letting your emotions take over, take a moment to pause and assess whether the situation really warrants such a reaction. You don't need to bottle up your feelings, but learning to communicate them calmly can help you maintain the depth of connection without the turbulence. And for those who are dating or friends with an Aries, knowing that their emotions run deep and sometimes their outbursts are a result of feeling hurt rather than a desire to fight can help you approach the relationship with more empathy. Remember, relationships are about balance, and while Aries' passion and excitement are often what draw people in, it's the ability to stay grounded and communicate effectively that helps them last. Impatience, Aries' need for instant gratification. Aries is often described as having the patience of a lightning bolt, quick, intense, and fleeting. The reality is that Aries thrives on immediate results. They want what they want, and they want it now. Whether it's achieving a goal or dealing with day-to-day situations, Aries rarely has the patience to wait around for things to unfold at a slower pace. This need for instant gratification can make them seem impulsive, sometimes even reckless, when things don't go as quickly as they'd like. I saw this vividly in a project I worked on with an Aries colleague. We were in the brainstorming phase, and while the rest of the team was taking time to carefully consider every option, he was already on to the next step, eager to start implementing ideas before we had fully fleshed them out. At first, his enthusiasm seemed like a great motivator for the team, but it quickly led to mistakes, miscommunications, and a rushed process that could have been avoided with more patience. If you're an Aries, it's important to recognize that not every situation can be fast-tracked. Instant gratification might work for small tasks, but larger goals require a slower, more deliberate approach. Learning how to embrace the process, not just the outcome, is one of the most powerful tools for growth. Take a breath when things don't move at the pace you expect. Practice mindfulness and remind yourself that good things take time, and that patience can actually enhance the quality of the results. For those interacting with an Aries, understanding that their impatience isn't personal can help you manage expectations. Help them channel that energy into productive steps rather than rushing through the process. Aries and their inner warrior, courage, not chaos. At the heart of Aries is Mars, the god of war. This connection gives them an unparalleled sense of courage, determination, and a strong will to fight for what they believe in. Aries are the warriors of the Zodiac. Not afraid to take risks, to go to battle for a cause, or to stand up for what they want. This warrior spirit is what makes Aries so captivating. They don't back down from challenges, and they'll fight until they reach their goals. But this fierce drive can sometimes push them to take on battles they don't need to fight. Aries can sometimes get caught up in unnecessary conflict, whether with friends, colleagues, or even strangers, just because they feel their territory is being encroached upon. I've seen an Aries go to great lengths to defend a position in a discussion, only to realize later that the argument wasn't worth the emotional energy spent. The desire to be right, or to feel victorious, can sometimes overshadow the true value of peace and harmony. If you're an Aries, channeling your inner warrior into causes that matter to you is key. You don't have to fight every battle. Choose your causes wisely. When you stand up for the right reasons, your warrior spirit is truly powerful. But when you engage in pointless conflicts, it can drain your energy and damage relationships. And if you're close to an Aries, support their cause but gently remind them that not every battle needs to be fought. Peace, after all, is often more powerful than being right. The need for independence, freedom above all. One of the most defining characteristics of Aries is their unyielding need for independence. It's not just about having their own space or time, it's a deep-seated desire to live life on their own terms, to be free from constraints, and to pursue their dreams without anyone holding them back. It's this fierce autonomy that drives Aries to achieve great things, but it can also be a source of conflict in their relationships. Take the story of an Aries entrepreneur I know. She started her own business not just because she had an amazing idea, but because she craved the freedom to work on her terms, without the restrictions of a 9-to-5 job. She wanted to make decisions independently and live life at her own pace. The success she achieved was a direct result of this independent spirit, but it also came with sacrifices. She often found it difficult to balance her personal relationships because she was so focused on her goals. And the people closest to her sometimes felt neglected. For Aries, finding a balance between independence and connection is crucial. It's important to recognize that while your need for freedom is valid, relationships, whether romantic, friendships, or family, require compromise. If you're an Aries, make sure that your drive for independence doesn't isolate you from the people who care about you. And if you're close to an Aries, remember that their need for space isn't about pushing you away, it's about giving them the freedom to recharge and be their best selves. Each of these aspects of Aries is a powerful force in its own right. Whether it's their leadership, competitive edge, impulsiveness, fiery temper, or desire for independence, they all contribute to making Aries the dynamic, vibrant, and occasionally overwhelming force they are. But like all powerful forces, understanding how to harness these traits effectively can lead to personal growth, stronger relationships, and a more balanced life. If you're an Aries or if you have Aries in your life, embracing both the light and dark sides of this energy is key to truly understanding and appreciating their essence. Stick around as we continue to explore how Aries can navigate their complex nature for even greater personal development. Aries and boundaries, a lesson in respecting limits. Aries' desire for freedom is one of their most defining traits, and this can sometimes lead them to push boundaries without realizing it. Their energetic, action-oriented nature often leads them to take charge of situations with little regard for how it might affect others. The need to move forward, to take risks, and to act fast, often leaves them blind to the fact that others may need space or time to process things. It's like the moment when an Aries might jump into a conversation, dominate the discussion, or make decisions without consulting anyone. Their drive to keep things moving at lightning speed can come off as overwhelming to others, even though their intentions are never malicious. I once worked with an Aries who had an incredible ability to push a project forward with speed and enthusiasm. But there was always one catch: she didn't always consider the input of the team. It was as if, in her mind, the job had to be done now, and everyone else just had to keep up. One day, after she took a decision without consulting anyone else, it created friction within the group. Some felt overlooked and frustrated. The energy she brought to the table was unmatched, but without realizing it, she had crossed a line. It wasn't that she didn't care, she just didn't understand that not everyone shared her need to keep moving at her pace. If you're an Aries, understanding boundaries isn't about suppressing your natural drive, it's about learning how to respect others' limits. It's important to understand that your intensity can sometimes be overwhelming, especially to those who may not move as quickly as you do. Take a moment to reflect. When was the last time you took a step back and allowed someone else to lead? Sometimes, it's not about charging ahead but letting the process unfold naturally. Try to practice patience and take into consideration the needs of others. Give them room to breathe, to contribute, and to work at their own pace. You'll not only build stronger connections, but you'll also inspire respect and collaboration. For those who are close to an Aries, it's equally important to communicate your needs. If you feel overwhelmed or disregarded, be honest about how their actions are affecting you. Aries, for all their fiery nature, thrive on directness and will appreciate your honesty. In the end, mutual respect for boundaries will create a harmonious space where Aries can still lead without leaving anyone behind. Aries in relationships, the fire of intensity. When it comes to relationships, Aries is nothing if not intense. They don't do things halfway, they love deeply, and they expect the same in return. There's no gray area in an Aries world, they throw themselves into their connections with passion and vigor. But this intense energy can sometimes lead to friction when things don't go according to plan. When an Aries feels hurt, misunderstood, or unappreciated, they don't hide their feelings, they express them, often with a fiery outburst. I've witnessed this dynamic many times. Especially with Aries friends who, despite their boldness and leadership skills, can find themselves in turbulent emotional waters. One of my closest friends, an Aries, once had an argument with her partner that escalated so quickly it seemed like a natural disaster. Her emotions flared, words were exchanged, and for a moment, it seemed like everything was on the verge of falling apart. But here's the thing about Aries, they don't carry grudges. Once the storm passed, they were the first to apologize, to fix the situation, and to move on. It's part of their nature to dive into their feelings and to let them out in the moment. While this intensity can be overwhelming for their partners, it's also what makes Aries such captivating individuals in relationships. If you're an Aries, take note, your passionate nature is a gift. But it can also be a challenge when it leads to emotional outbursts. It's important to practice emotional regulation, especially when things get heated. Instead of letting anger or frustration dictate your actions, pause and reflect on what's really driving your response. Is it a genuine issue, or is it a temporary frustration? Finding ways to communicate calmly and effectively during conflicts will help you build stronger, more lasting relationships. Consider taking a few deep breaths before you react and ask yourself if your words will help resolve the situation or escalate it further. And if you're in a relationship with an Aries, understanding their emotional intensity will go a long way. Don't take their outbursts personally. They love with all their heart, and their quick reactions often stem from a place of deep emotion rather than a desire to hurt. Be patient, listen to them, and recognize that the passion they bring is also what makes them an incredibly loyal and loving partner. Aries impulsivity, the need for instant gratification. For Aries, life is lived in the fast lane. The thrill of the moment, the excitement of diving headfirst into new experiences, and the anticipation of immediate results drive their every action. When an Aries has an idea or a goal, they go after it with a single-minded focus and an undeniable urgency. This is where Aries' impulsive nature comes into play. They rarely hesitate. If something excites them, they're all in. This drive to act quickly can bring incredible rewards, but it can also lead to decisions made in haste, often without fully considering the consequences. I had a friend who was an Aries entrepreneur, and she was always the first to jump on new business ventures. Her enthusiasm was contagious, and when she had a new idea, it was hard not to get swept up in her excitement. But as much as I admired her drive, I also saw her fall into the trap of rushing into things. She would start a new project, throw herself into it, only to realize a few months later that she hadn't fully thought it through. Sometimes, her impulsiveness led to financial setbacks or a lack of preparation, which could have been avoided with a little more patience and foresight. If you're an Aries, there's no denying your need for action. But it's important to balance that with a bit of patience. Before diving headfirst into a new project or making a quick decision, take a moment to reflect on the long-term consequences. A little bit of pause can help you make smarter decisions and avoid unnecessary setbacks. While your energy and spontaneity are incredible assets, learning to slow down and think things through can enhance your ability to create lasting success. For those dealing with an Aries, understand that their impulsivity isn't a sign of recklessness, it's a result of their need to act and achieve. Encouraging them to take a step back before making decisions can help channel that energy more productively. Suggest taking a few moments to breathe and plan before jumping into new endeavors. Aries will appreciate your input, especially if it helps them avoid unnecessary mistakes. Aries and their fiery temper, learning to channel the flame. There's no denying the intensity of an Aries temper. When something or someone crosses them, it's like a switch flips, and the full force of their anger is unleashed. It's not uncommon for an Aries to go from calm to furious in a matter of seconds. This fiery temper is part of what makes Aries so vibrant. But it can also be a source of tension in their lives and relationships. They feel deeply, and when they're upset, they don't hold back. Their emotions are raw and honest, and sometimes that intensity can be overwhelming for others. I remember an instance when a close friend of mine, an Aries, got into a heated argument with a colleague. The exchange escalated quickly, with both sides exchanging sharp words. As the argument raged on, it seemed like everything around them faded into the background, except for their fury. But within moments of the argument ending, the storm passed. Aries didn't hold on to grudges. They vented, they expressed their anger, and then they moved on. While this can be cathartic for Aries, it often leaves others feeling like they've just experienced an emotional whirlwind. For Aries, learning to manage that fiery temper is essential for long-term peace and happiness. It's not about suppressing emotions, it's about recognizing when your anger is fueled by something deeper. Take a moment to check in with yourself. Is your anger coming from a place of hurt, frustration, or something else? Practicing mindfulness during moments of anger can help you gain control over your emotions and avoid making rash decisions you'll regret later. When you're able to channel your emotions constructively, you'll find that your fiery nature can be an asset, not a liability. For those who interact with Aries, understanding that their temper is often a knee-jerk reaction can help you navigate tough situations. When they get angry, try not to take it personally. Give them space to cool off, and when they're ready, have an open conversation. Aries often need time to process their emotions before they can move past them. And being patient with them will strengthen your relationship in the long run. Aries' need for independence, a delicate balance. Finally, we reach the core of the Aries spirit, independence. Aries is a sign that thrives on freedom, autonomy, and the ability to live life on their own terms. They don't like being told what to do, and they value their personal space and ability to make decisions without interference. This unyielding need for independence often drives Aries to strike out on their own, take risks, and pursue their dreams without looking back. But there's a fine line between independence and isolation. And it's something that Aries must navigate carefully. I know an Aries who, while incredibly successful in her career, has often found herself lonely because of her intense drive for independence. She built her business from the ground up, focusing solely on her goals, and as a result, she sometimes felt disconnected from those closest to her. Her independence was empowering, but it also created distance in her relationships. The irony is that, despite her fierce autonomy, she deeply craved connection, yet her drive to maintain control kept her from reaching out and allowing others in. For Aries, finding balance is key. Your independence is an incredible strength, but it doesn't have to come at the cost of your relationships. While it's essential to carve out time for yourself, remember that connection with others is just as important. Relationships require give and take, and being open to vulnerability can create deeper bonds. Learn to embrace your need for space, but also allow others into your world when they reach out. Independence is a beautiful thing, but it doesn't have to mean solitude. By striking that balance, you can achieve both personal success and emotional fulfillment. For those in relationships with Aries, understanding their need for space and autonomy is important. It's not about pushing them away, it's about allowing them to thrive while still nurturing your connection. Respect their need for independence, but also be patient and willing to provide the support they need when they're ready to open up. Aries' best qualities: courage, loyalty, and passion. One of the most awe-inspiring things about Aries is their raw courage. Aries embodies the fearless warrior, the one who charges into situations without hesitation, driven by a force that others might struggle to match. But it's not just about taking risks for the thrill, it's about standing up for what they believe in and having the audacity to forge a path where others might hesitate. Aries knows no bounds, and that fearlessness is contagious. Have you ever been around someone so confident that you couldn't help but feel empowered by their presence? That's Aries in action. Their boldness is magnetic, and when they believe in something, they will move mountains to make it happen. This is why Aries are often seen as the perfect leaders. They don't just talk about change, they take action. Their courage pushes them to set goals and charge ahead, inspiring everyone around them to do the same. Think about someone like Lady Gaga. Her journey from a small-town girl to an international icon is a perfect example of Aries' courage in action. She took risks that no one else dared to take, and now, she's known for inspiring millions of people around the world with her music and her unwavering belief in herself. Aries teaches us that if we want something badly enough, we need to be brave enough to go after it, no matter what obstacles are in our way. But courage in Aries isn't just about bold moves or big achievements. It's also about loyalty and dedication to the people they love. When Aries are committed to someone, whether it's a friend, a partner, or a cause, they will stand by them through thick and thin. This loyalty comes from the same place as their courage, their unwavering belief in their convictions. Aries' passion runs deep, and they pour their hearts into everything they do, from their work to their relationships. They may not always show it in the softest way, but the intensity of their loyalty is undeniable. So, if you're an Aries, celebrate that inner courage. Use it to fuel your dreams, to inspire others, and to create the life you've always wanted. But also, remember that loyalty is just as powerful as courage. Your passion can be a beacon of light for others. Never underestimate the impact your dedication can have on those around you. Aries in conflict, a struggle between boldness and impulse. When conflict arises, Aries rarely backs down. Their fire is sparked, and they jump into the battle headfirst. Their approach to conflict is intense and immediate. They don't shy away from confrontation, if anything. They thrive in it. If there's a problem to solve, Aries will meet it head-on, often without much thought for the consequences. And while this can lead to swift resolutions and moments of brilliance, it can also make them come off as too aggressive or combative, especially if they've been hurt or disrespected. I once witnessed an Aries in an argument where emotions were running high. They didn't hold back, every word was sharp, every gesture was assertive, and every response was quick. But the irony is that, within minutes of the confrontation, they were already moving on to something else. As if the entire episode had never happened. The fire of Aries can burn bright, but it also burns quickly. Once the confrontation is over, so is the anger, and they're ready to move on without looking back. This characteristic can be both a strength and a weakness. On one hand, Aries doesn't waste time sitting in discomfort, they tackle problems quickly. But on the other hand, their approach can sometimes burn bridges if they don't take a moment to reflect on how their words and actions impact others. If you're an Aries, think about the moments when you might have gone a little too hard in an argument. Did your boldness serve the situation, or did it push someone away? The trick here is learning to pause before reacting. Think about whether a quick reaction will really resolve the issue or if it will just escalate things. Aries, your instinct to jump into action is valuable, but there's wisdom in taking a moment to breathe. Especially when emotions are running high. For those interacting with Aries, understanding this tendency is key. Don't take their immediate reactions personally. Know that their fiery nature is more about their desire to solve the problem quickly than about attacking you. Give them time to cool off, and you'll find that they're usually more than willing to mend the situation. If you understand their need for immediacy, you can help them find calmer ways to resolve conflicts without the emotional storm. Aries and growth, finding balance between fire and patience. The most important lesson for Aries is learning how to find balance between their innate fire and the patience required for personal growth. As we've seen, Aries can be impulsive, quick to act, and sometimes a little too eager to charge ahead. This impulsiveness, paired with their natural assertiveness, can lead to great achievements, but it can also cause setbacks if they don't learn to temper their energy. An Aries friend of mine, someone who has achieved a lot in her life, once shared something profound with me. She told me that for most of her career, she was always rushing to the next goal, the next achievement, thinking that success was defined by speed. But over time, she learned the hard way that patience was a much more powerful ally. Her impatience often led her to miss out on opportunities for deeper reflection or careful planning. And that's where she felt the most frustrated. When she finally embraced patience, she realized that taking the time to nurture her projects, to step back and assess before jumping in, allowed her to make smarter decisions and build a more solid foundation for her goals. For Aries, the challenge is in finding that sweet spot between action and reflection. Your energy, your drive, and your passion are powerful assets, but they can be even more effective when paired with a little patience and self-reflection. Growth doesn't just happen through quick wins or bold moves. It's about the moments in between, the times when you pause to consider your next steps, when you allow yourself to learn and evolve, and when you give yourself the space to make mistakes and grow from them. If you're an Aries, try this simple practice. Before rushing into your next big decision, take a moment each day to reflect. Ask yourself how this decision aligns with your long-term goals, and if the immediate action will truly benefit you in the long run. Practicing patience doesn't mean slowing down entirely. It's about learning to act with intention rather than impulse. Over time, you'll find that you make smarter decisions and achieve more sustainable success. For those who have Aries in their life, encourage them to slow down and reflect, especially when they seem ready to dive into the next thing. They'll appreciate your support in helping them take their time and make more thoughtful decisions. So, after diving deep into the many layers of Aries, we're left with an intriguing conclusion. Are they an angel or an absolute menace? The answer is both. Aries is a complex sign, a mix of fiery passion, impulsive decisions, and boundless energy. But with all these traits comes a deeper, more beautiful side, the natural leadership, the unwavering loyalty, and the unbreakable courage that makes Aries so special. If you're an Aries, celebrate your fierce nature, but also take a moment to reflect on how you can channel that energy in a way that benefits both yourself and those around you. Strive for balance between your intense drive and the patience that will guide you toward long-term success. Balance between your independence and the connections you build with others. Remember, you are both powerful and vulnerable, both a warrior and a lover, and your journey towards self-awareness is an incredible one. If you're not an Aries but know someone who is, take this opportunity to better understand them. Recognize the intense fire that drives them, and support them as they navigate the complexities of their personality. With a little patience and understanding, your relationship with Aries can be incredibly rewarding. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video gave you a deeper insight into the powerful world of Aries. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Zen Mind Peaceful Life. We'll continue to explore astrology, self-growth, and mindfulness, so stay tuned for more content that will help you grow in mind, body, and spirit.